Welcome into this week's edition of the Co-Lin Coaches Show. We're wide open as all the spring sports are starting, and we've got basketball as well, too. We anticipating the debut of softball. We should have everybody here this week except for them. We're going to have the defending national champions on as soon as they start, but starting this week, we're going to have women's basketball, and joining me is our head coach, Dr. Britta Stevens. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Coach, obviously a little bit of a weird week. You went 1-1, and you started off and you beat Jones. You take that one 77-69. Talk about how you felt the girls played in that one.
Yeah, we were happy to get a home win, a home conference win. We needed one. We had lost several in a row. I never felt like that game was quite as close as what the score indicated. I was very, very disappointed in the last maybe minute and a half of the game. It was like we just said, okay, the game's over with, and there was still a minute and a half left. And had there been 3 minutes left in the game, I think we would have been in a lot of trouble. So I was very disappointed defensively in how we played at the end of that game. I didn't think we handled their pressure late in the game very well. Other than that, overall, I was pretty pleased with how we played. It was very much a complete effort from our team. Jones had a 6'2" kid, and she was a true 6'2" kid. A lot of times people will list kids at 6'2", and they're 5'11", but this kid was a true 6'2". She was a Jackson State transfer, and one of our keys to victory was keep her off the board and don't let her have a good night, and we did an excellent job of that. In fact, I think we out-rebounded them, and I think they only got like 8 or 10 offensive rebounds all night. So our bigs, especially, I remember LaShunti Payne just doing a really, really good job of blocking that kid off and doing her job and keeping her off the boards. We got her in foul trouble. She was not really a factor in the game because she came out, and that really helped us be able to be successful and win this game.
And you go and you look at the box score, and you have a 16-11 lead after the first quarter, and then you match each other in scoring output in the second. Both had 20 points, but you have a 36-31 lead at halftime. So you're feeling really good coming through. Mm-hmm. Coming out of halftime, coming into this third quarter, you win that quarter. You outscore them 19-16 to maintain your lead, and then you both match each other 22 points again in the fourth quarter. So you won the odd quarters, you tied the even quarters, and it all equals a win for the Wolves, or for the Lady Wolves. First time Lady Wolves have beaten Jones since I believe February of 2020. Only the third win in the last 8 years. So a big win for the Lady Wolves in this one.
Yeah, it was a big win for us, and it was a home conference win. Every home conference win is big. Every conference win is big, but specifically the home ones. I think there doesn't need to be a misconception. I'm very happy that we beat Jones for the first time since whatever. Right. But this is not the Jones team that they've had in the past. They lost a lot of people. They didn't get some of the big-time signees that they had in the past. So it is a very good win for us, but it is not a number 10 in the country Jones team or some of those perennial powerhouse teams that they've had the past 4 or 5 years. Thankfully for us, so we're glad that they've kind of fallen off a little bit, and just really glad to get the win. I don't ever look at the quarter breakdowns. I knew the third quarter was a good quarter for us. I knew the fourth quarter was a really bad quarter for us. I thought defensively early in the game we played a lot of zone because they don't shoot it. The statistics said they didn't shoot it well, and then they started shooting it pretty well, and we immediately went, we have to change to man. And we ended up playing a lot of man the rest of the game just because they were shooting it better than what they statistically had shot it all year. So those adjustments, I think that helped us be successful too. And honestly, if I'm being completely honest, our group likes to play man a little bit more than they like to play zone. They don't get fired up when I say we're going to play a lot of zone. They like to play man, and that's okay as long as we can keep the ball in front of us. And I thought we did a good job of that for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter I thought we did a really poor job of that.
So you go and you look at the individual stats. You got a big game from Ashanti Fleming. Pumpkins played really big in your last couple from this one, and I think the Holmes game and a couple more in between there. She had 17 points, led the way. I think, if I'm looking at everything correctly, led all scores with 17 points. So a good game from what a lot of people would consider your two guard. She does a really good job playing kind of off the ball and finding her spot and getting the shots for herself.
Yeah, she did a really good job, and that's 2 games in a row that she's had. Honestly, that's probably more like 3 games in a row that she's played really, really well. I thought she played really well at the Holmes game, and I felt like she demanded the ball more and wanted it and was more looking to score. And she's a very, very unselfish player. She's about Co-Lin and what can I do to help Co-Lin win, but sometimes almost to a fault. Sometimes she needs to go demand that ball more, and I felt like in this game she did that once again. She demanded the ball, and she was in positions to score. She took really good shots. We ran a lot of ball screen stuff against them, and that helps her get downhill and take good shots. She made a couple threes, which is not necessarily her strong suit or our strong suit as a team, but we were able to get the ball inside and play inside out and then get those threes. I thought Sierra Myers had a really good game in this one with Jones. She had nearly a double-double. Jamia Smith had a double-double. Those two players have been playing consistently very well for us. One of our keys for this game also was to get the ball inside, and when you had the big 6'2" kid on you, let's face and take her because she was not very mobile moving side to side, and those two are able to do that. C and J they have the ability to put the ball on the floor, and they're deceiving. When you look at them, you're like, I don't know if they can do that, but they're very, very good at that, so they were able to be successful by doing that. So those three players, I thought they played really well. Honestly, there are a lot of other players that I can remember who played very well. I thought Kayla Howard played well. I thought Cookie Wilkinson played well. I thought we had some freshmen, Kiki McChristian, who's played well for 2 games for us. I thought we had a lot of kids who came in off the bench and played well. So I did feel like, when I went back to my office after that game, sometimes I go, who played well? And I can't really think of anybody. That night I walked back to my office and I went, wow, everybody played well. And that's a good feeling as a coach. You want everybody to play well.
You look at that. You mentioned Sierra Myers, 10-7 out of her, and then Jamia Smith, the double-double, 11-10. We talked after this game, and I told you one thing that really stood out to me. It's something that this is a player we talk about all the time. She's kind of an unsung hero, and it was something that impressed me. It was Sequoia Bolden. She made a layup on one end, and I told you by the time I could input what had happened, I looked up, and she was already on the other end of the court, ready defensively. She just. You watch her and you just have to appreciate the hustle and the heart and the toughness that she plays with.
She does play with a toughness and a hustle and a heart, and she is very much an unsung hero. Some nights she scores 6 points, some nights she scores 2 points, and she doesn't care. Some nights I ask her to play the 4 against a 6'2" kid. Some nights I ask her to go in and play the 3 and help handle the ball. She does anything I ask her to do. Jumping ahead a little bit to the Delta game, she is an emotional player, and that's not always a bad thing, but in the Delta game, she got frustrated with a couple of her teammates because she's playing so hard and working so hard, and she didn't feel like some of them were playing hard, and she got on them pretty big. And I like that because that's what she brings. She brings that energy to us, and she brings that, that fire, and we need that. And sometimes your teammates need that, and she's one of those kids that we can always count on bringing it, and she brings it in. She gets on them and she pushes them in a positive way. It's never discouraging or defensive. It's always very positive. So looking ahead to that Delta game, I thought that was one thing. She was kind of a bright spot in what I consider a morbid game.
So we will jump to that one, and we have mentioned already. This one just you look at this one and you go, it just wasn't the Lady Wolves night. You look at this one and you go, flush it, move on. Not our night. Didn't play our best ball. You look at this one, 62-49 or 43. Excuse me. Your thoughts about the game overall?
First of all, I think Delta is a much better team than what their record says. We went into this and we were tied in whatever play. We were 2-4, they were 2-5, and I looked at their record, and when I was watching film, I went, they're way better than a 2-5 conference team. They're a very mature team. They had a lot of people that returned. They play in a way. They play a 1-2-2 matchup zone, which is something that hardly anybody else in our league plays. And for players who've never played against it, most of my team had never played against it. When you start trying to play against it, they're very confused. They're like, Coach, I don't know what this is. Is it zone? Is it man? So I think kudos to them, tip my hat to Coach Banks and what she's doing with her group because she's doing a really good job. And I do really like their team. It was not our night. We could get anything to go well for us. The first quarter went really well. We played zone because they don't shoot it, and we did a good job. And then they went on some runs. We took some bad shots. They got some long rebounds that turned into transition baskets. And you and I, as many times as we've talked this year, every time we've talked, rebounding and transition defense, transition baskets have kind of been our Achilles heel. And that's what I told them after the game last night. I said, y'all, it's something we put on the practice plan every day, and we do it every day because we're trying to help you get better at it. But at some point, we've got to embrace that, and we've got to know this is what we're not good at. We've got to find ways to get better at it, and that really hurt us in that second quarter. Late in the second quarter, they went on a big run. Like I said, bad shots, long rebounds, transition baskets, and that really, really hurt us. And then after halftime, we were just almost defeated. We just couldn't come back. I called timeout at one point in the third quarter, and I said, y'all, this is like boxing. I said, they threw a punch, and your nose is bloody, and we have not responded. I said, don't get knocked out, and we were just a TKO last night. We just got knocked out.
Right. So, and you look at again quarter breakdown, 20-16 after the first quarter. You're feeling good. You're right in there. You're in it. The middle 2 quarters are really what did you in. As you said, you get outscored 33-15 in those two in the second and third combined. But you look at the fourth quarter, you outscored them 12-9. So the fourth quarter, that you're able to find some success there. So there's some things you can build on in that quarter more than likely. But, again, a game overall, as we said at the beginning, just one you kind of want to flush and go, We're just moving on from this one. It happened. We can't change anything. The result is what it is, and we're moving on. But you look at the individual box score, and the highlight here is Alexandria Washington coming off the bench, 16-7. led all scorers with 16. A bright spot for the freshman in an otherwise kind of not bright game.
Yeah, she was very much a bright spot as a freshman. And, this league is tough. College basketball is tough. You go from being the best player on your team to a team where everybody was the best player on their team. And she's a freshman kid who some nights she gets a lot of minutes, some nights she doesn't get minutes because she's got 3 sophomore posts who are very good in front of her. LaShunty Payne, Sierra Myers, Jamia Smith. Well, those are kids we talk about every year because they're every time we talk because they're averaging double doubles. So sometimes that playing time for Alex Washington is very limited. She's a skilled player. Last night was her night, and she had a chance to really step up and show that. Sierra got 2 early fouls. Jamia rolled her ankle in practice on Friday and she just wasn't very good. She was hurt and couldn't go. Biddy didn't play bad. LaShunty didn't play bad. But this was Alex Washington's night, and she had a chance to step up. In fact, I got frustrated with our guards some because we were running things to get her the ball close to the basket, and they wouldn't give it to her, or they would give it to her at the nail, or they would give it to her on the perimeter. I'm like, y'all, she can't do anything with it there. That's not where she wants it. Give it to her where she wants it. And when she got the ball in positions where she wanted it, she was extremely successful. I can remember several times that she shot it and missed it, got it back, and went back. She was just persistent and kept going after it. And so I was really happy that she had a good night. She was the bright spot of the night. I thought Sequoia Bolden had an okay night. Again, scoring is not really what she does, but she did bring some other things to us. Thought Cookie Wilkinson had a good night. She got a lot of baskets off of steals. She was able to get some steals, which converted to offense. Other than that, I thought we had a lot of people who just had a really bad night. And I'll be honest, it probably started in practice on Sunday night. Coach Holt and I, we told them over and over in practice on Sunday night, you're not practicing like you're ready to play. You're not practicing like you're ready to play. And so that translated from Sunday night into Monday's game. You can't just flip a switch and show up and play against a good team. And everybody in our league is a good team. You just can't show up. And I told them in warm-ups before the game, I said, I don't feel like you're warming up, preparing to win this game. So that was frustrating for me and for Coach because we had a chance to go on the road and win a game. We had a chance to jump them in the standings and get right back into the middle of the pack, and then we just didn't even really throw a punch, so to speak.
You look at it. You look at Cookie's line, 9 points, flirted with a double-double because she had 8 steals.
Mm-hmm. I did not realize she had that many steals.
Found a way to, there were a few times she'd find a way. She'd just poke the ball loose, or the ball would pop into her hands and those kind of things as well, too. So, and like you mentioned, a good job of transitioning defense into offense for her. So we'll look at the schedule ahead. You got a couple of tough ones coming up here for the next 2. You'll host Northeast this upcoming Thursday, and then we'll go to the next week. You'll go on the road. It won't be a Monday night game. It'll be a Tuesday night game, President's Day being Monday. So we'll play on that Tuesday. But the first one, again, hosting Northeast. What do you know about the Lady Tigers coming into this one?
Not much at all. I have watched zero film on them. I did see them early in the year at Baton Rouge when they were playing. I think they've got a good team. I think they're mature. I think she's got a lot of pieces. I don't think they're very deep. I think they only play about 6 or 7. I talked to Coach Harris at Southwest last night. We usually talk after the games, especially on the road games because we're both on the bus and everything. And he said I was up 18 at one point and we started fouling really bad and they cut it to 2. And he said Northeast had a chance to tie it at the buzzer. So that's a little scary. Now, that was at their place. Scary for me because we like to foul, and that's been one of our keys all year is don't foul. Hold your hands up and make people score over you and don't foul. So if they're getting a lot of fouls, to me, that indicates that they're driving to the basket a lot. And so we're going to have to do a good job of keeping the ball in front of us. But to be honest with you, I really don't know very much about them. I printed the stats out this morning and I've added the film to Huddle, and that's today. Coach and I will start breaking it down and looking at it. Looking ahead to Pearl River, don't know a ton about them either. Have not seen anything on them. I know that they've been consistently right around number 9 in the country all year, but I also know that Gulf Coast went to them, or Gulf Coast had them the other night, and Gulf Coast beat them, and Northeast beat Gulf Coast. So to me, that says there's a lot of parity in our league. There are a lot of teams that are beating each other, and that's what our kids, and I try not to talk too much about standings and where we are, and maybe I should talk more about it, but everybody's beating everybody. There are teams, Northwest, which is a team we beat at their place, is 5-2. Mm-hmm. That speaks to me and says we've got a chance to still be here and still be in the mix. So, and some people haven't played the Pearl Rivers or the Gulf Coast. Everybody's schedule is different, but everybody's beating everybody. And if we can just take care of our own business, we can get help from other people when everybody's beating everybody.
You're looking at it right now, and 2-5 in conference. Not where you want to be, but even at 2-5 in conference, 2-4, whatever it is, but you still giving yourself a chance. You still have a fighter's chance. Going into the last bit of the schedule, and you still have a lot of winnable games ahead of you. So you would like to have like you said, got the win last night against Delta and really propelled yourself back into the middle of things, but you still have a chance to be right there in the middle when it's all said and done and get into the region tournament.
Yeah, you do. And that's what, and I tell them after every game, one win doesn't end our season, one loss doesn't end our season. It's a whole body of work. You're looking at a whole body of work. I always look at it as if you get 7 wins, you've clinched. That doesn't mean you're going to be a number 1 or a number 2, but if you can win half your games, there are 14 league games. If you can win 7, you're going to get in. But I feel like if we can win 5, we may be able to stand a chance. Now, that may be sneaking in at the 12 seed, and that's okay with me. If that's where we have to sneak in, let's sneak in at the 12 seed and let's make some noise in the tournament. But we've got to win. We've got to win the home games. We've got to win the ones that we're supposed to win. Hines, when they come here, we got to get that one. Kahoma, when they come here, we've got to get that one. Meridian, when they come here, we've got to get those 3. Those are the next 3 home games. Northeast, if we could get that one at home, that's a feather in our hat. I do think they're going to finish in the top of our league. So I think the next 2 are going to be tough for us. I know that. Are they winnable? Absolutely, but we're going to have to play a lot better than we played at Delta. But after those 2, then the others, we're looking at very, very winnable games, and we've got to play better and try to find a way to rattle off a few wins in a row.
So lots of exciting things happening for the Lady Wolves. They go 1-1 over their last 2, beating the Lady Bobcats of Jones, falling to the Lady Trojans of Mississippi Delta. Again, coming up, their next 2, hosting the Lady Tigers of Northeast, and then on the road for the Lady Wildcats of Pearl River. We also want to remind everybody this upcoming Thursday, we'll have the reception honoring former Lady Wolves head coach Gwen Young. They'll also be honoring him during halftime of the game as well, too. So lots of exciting things. We're looking forward to having a lot of alumni come back, a lot of former Lady Wolves basketball players, and just having a good time honoring the legacy of head coach Gwen Young and all that he did for Co-Lin Lady Wolves basketball. Coach, thanks for joining us as always. Always look forward to talking to you. Always a good time talking basketball and Lady Wolves basketball and everything that's going on.
Thank you.
So stick with us through the break. We've got lots more Wolves athletics action to talk about after this. Thanks for sticking with us through the break, and we're going to have our first tennis segment of the Co-Lin Coaches Show. And joining me now is our head men's and women's tennis coach, Dana Hale. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
And Coach, obviously, the season's gotten started. I know you've gotten a few matches under your belt. I think both teams have gotten 3. The ladies have played 1 extra one against Louisiana Christian. Obviously, that one being a little exhibition doesn't count or hurt the team. I know you dropped that one 2-7, but I think Yari played was the longest match in school history. Played
Just
like a 3-hour match.
Yeah, it was awesome. She played unbelievably well.
And for those of you unfamiliar with college tennis, 3 hours is a long time in any world of tennis, pro or otherwise. So a 3-hour match at college tennis, almost kind of unheard of.
Yeah, so she won the first set in the tiebreak, lost the second set in the tiebreak, and since the match had already been clinched, she didn't have to play a full third set, just a 10-point tiebreak, and she won it 10-7. And so if she plays like that the rest of the season, it'd be hard for her to lose.
So we'll go back all the way to the start of the year. Started back right at the end of January. Games that got, I think, moved up a little bit. You're supposed to play those that weekend. Had some weather coming in the Mobile area. Went over to coastal Alabama South. I believe Bay Minette, Mobile area, somewhere in there. Played coastal Alabama South. Girls won that one 5-4. They've won all of theirs, but just talk about that opening match and really kind of, I know it came down to your last singles match. I think it was the 6 singles, and with technology and stuff, you can actually watch the scores and those kind of things. I told you I was watching it. I was like, it's gonna come down to this match, and it did, and ladies were able to pull out a win on that one.
Actually, it was 5 singles, but it was Michaela Rummels. She's my sophomore, one of my captains, and she's one of those that has a win at all costs, just going to not quit. Had a close match, but ended up pulling it out in the tie break. So, yeah, we won that close match, and Coastal Alabama is pretty good. They've got really good doubles, one team, and a number one singles is really good. So it was great to get a win on the road, and all the girls, and I was just looking at my roster from this year to last. I only have 2 returners from last year's team. So we're pretty young. I have 3 new internationals. We have Michaela as a sophomore, and Allie Everett from Wesson is also my second sophomore. But everybody else is freshmen and brand new. So I feel very fortunate that the girls have meshed as well as they have, and they work hard in practice. And I think it's really showing off. I'm so excited about our today's match because it is our first conference match match against East Central. So I'm excited that hopefully the weather's going to be a little bit nicer today compared to yesterday also. So, yeah, looking forward to a great matchup today.
So you also look at the other two that you've already played. You won 9-0 against Southwest, and then again 5-4 against Hines. And a couple of matches where I think you changed up a little bit of your lineup, a little bit, just trying some other things out, and you were able to get success in those as well too.
we've been having a few nagging injuries. So since that was a non-conference, I wanted to kind of get some other people in the matches, so we did, and fortunate enough to win. So, yeah, it's crazy to say that anything could happen on any given day, but I really like our shots, and we honestly, on both sides, we're probably going to win a lot of matches or lose a lot of matches 5-4. So it's going to be real close this year.
So and you look at the upcoming ones for the ladies, and these will be for the men as well too. We'll talk about the men in just a second, but continuing with the ladies, you've got East Central this upcoming Tuesday. Then you'll go on the road. You'll play a couple on the road over in New Albany. You'll play against Northeast. I believe that one is a conference matchup as
Correct.
well too. And then you'll play Blue Mountain, another exhibition for you, but just another match where you get to play some more tennis and play some quality opponents there too. But what are you excited about those upcoming matches?
Well, with the Blue Mountain match, they have most of their players are internationals, which tends to be harder competition. And so I feel like if we can go and just get more exposure, with the freshmen, nerves is always still an issue, and you want to play as many matches possibly to prepare them. So when we do get in the bulk of our conference season, they'll definitely be prepared. So that's why I've tried to add more extra matches besides our conference matches this year, because we are playing Millsaps as well as Belhaven, Belleville State, Marion Military. So we're playing several other JUCOs and senior four-year colleges to hopefully just prepare us that, when we get ready to go to regionals, we'll be better.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would ask why play Louisiana Christian, Blue Mountain, Belhaven, Millsaps, and you answered it. It's all about the exposure. It's all about getting them ready, like you said, getting ready not only for region, but really for what you'll see at the national tournament. If the team gets that far, you'll face a lot of teams that have primarily international players on their rosters. So, it in the long run, it helps teams get better.
Well, true. And if you're playing someone who is better than you, you're going to tend to rise up. And that can be said in any sport. And so I feel like, and they can play even more loose because they're like, I have nothing to lose. I'm not expected to win this match. And so I will say that our new assistant, Trip Case, has done a great job in the fall and in the spring already, developing these kids, recognizing the things that they need to work on. And he's so fundamentally sound. And we're seeing that it's paying off already, big time.
So we'll go back and we'll look at the men's side now. The guys lost their opener 7-2 to Coastal Alabama South, but I think if I'm remembering correctly, you had a lot of those matches that went to third set tiebreaks. A lot of those could have gone either way, and it easily could have been a 6-3 loss or a 5-4 win for the guys. But what did you see out of that opening match?
Well, one I've got great sophomore leadership. Landon Baines is coming back. He's from Brookhaven Academy, and then my international player Valentino Milamasi from Argentina. He is focused. He works with all the American kids, stays after practice, brings great fire. He's always excited. So, and then, of course, we have Arnie Sommer. He was a reverse transfer from Alcorn State, and he's phenomenal. He won the ITA regionals, went to the national tournament. A lot of players are going to be gunning for him since he did win the ITA. But, just excited that, and we have such good team chemistry that, in this league, this is my 5th year as being the head coach here at Co-Lin, and it's just every year the competition just continues to get stronger and stronger. So, but I feel like even having said that, we're going to be right there in the mix. We could be as high as possibly 3rd seed or even as low as the 5th seed. But I really feel like on both sides that we're going to be right there in the hunt.
And you look at the next two matches, guys are on a winning streak. They've won 2 in a row. Same exact scores from the girls. Beat Southwest 9-0, beat Hines 5-4. Again, had a couple of those matches in the Hines match. Could have gone either way, could have resulted in a loss, but fell the way for the Wolves. But overall, what have you seen out of your guys that you really like so far? I know it's early. I know conference play is about to start, but as you alluded to when we've talked in the past, you played a lot in the fall too, as well too. So, they've had a good bit of tennis under their belt at this point.
Yeah, I think the big thing is they just want to get better each and every day. I have a couple out there already warming up, and our match today doesn't start till 2:00. So what does that tell you? And they're also out there late at night. I mean, that's the one thing that they are so internally motivated, and they're such great kids, and they're just a joy to coach. And like I said, even on the boys' side, there's such good team chemistry. So I'm excited. I feel like each year we've been very successful, but I really feel like this might be on the cusp of us really just breaking that ceiling and being in the top 3. And the top 8 teams go to regional, and then the top 3 teams out of region play go to the national tournament. So that's our goal. We set goals that we would be in the top 8, of course. My goal was to be in the top 3, to be seeded at least the 3rd seed, because you draw a better opponent, and then make it to the national tournament. So that's our goal.
So, and obviously the guys have the same 3 matchups coming as well too. Again, you talked about it. The men's side is loaded. I think the women's side is probably just as strong. But what are you expecting out of these first 2 conference matchups for the guys?
I feel like my goal is for us to win at least 7-2 today on both sides. And I hope to win 9-0 against Northeast. Northeast only has 1 international boy and no international girls, and so that really does make a huge difference because their better players will have to play our internationals, and it's just hard. It's just hard for American kids to match up. You do have your exceptions. There are a couple out there, but on average, the internationals usually have the heads up. So I feel like today. My goal is to win at least 7-2. So if we don't, I'll be disappointed.
All right. Lots of good stuff already in the pipe for the Lady Wolves and Wolves tennis teams. Lots of exciting action coming up. We'll have Coach Hale join us back periodically throughout the season, talk about all the success they're having, and talk about the season as it progresses. Stick with us through the break. Coming up, we'll have head men's basketball coach David Sanders find out what happened last night in the Wolves' win against Delta. It was an exciting finish. I was there to see it, and we're excited to talk about it. Welcome back in. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. Teased that head coach David Sanders was joining us. We're actually going to have the assistant coach Cortez Mitchell join us. Coach, thanks for joining us this week.
No problem. How you doing, Kev?
I'm doing good, Coach. And Coach had a little bit of a up and down week. Had one game that really kind of slipped through your fingers, and then one where you feel like you kind of escaped with the win. But we'll go to the first one against Jones. You lose that one 75-73. Had a really fast and furious comeback at the end. You actually made the last shot of the game, and unfortunately, had you had maybe another possession or two, you probably would have won that one. But overall, how do you feel about the way the guys played in that one?
I thought they played hard. Thought they played together. We knew it was going to be a tough game. Jones is a good team, and that's what we want to measure ourselves against, the good teams in the league. Again, we feel like we let slip away, and one that we should have got, but we didn't. Guys played hard, and that's why I think they came play hard on Thursday.
And you had a little bit of a unique experience in this one. You're up at halftime by a point. The second half got a little out of balance there with some of the foul calls and those kind of things. And Coach Sanders took a little bit of an exception to it, and then he had to go finish the rest of the game in the office. Unfortunately, drew a couple of technical fouls in. You had to step in and take over reins there. And I feel like in that kind of a unique situation, it felt like you really understood what you had to do and how to get the guys to the finish line, and it really felt like it kind of galvanized the team there in the second half. And like I said, fast and furious comeback just fell a little bit short.
Well, first of all, the reason you want to play for Coach Sanders is because he's a player's coach, and he was standing up for his players, and that's something he's going to do every time, no matter the consequence. So the guys kind of knew that, and the first thing in the huddle when he got kicked out, they said, let's go try to win this for Coach Sanders, and that's what we tried to do. We came up a little bit short, but they played hard because I think a sense of urgency kind of got to them, and they realized what was at stake.
Yeah, definitely don't blame Coach for going to bat for his guys. I think I told y'all at that point. I kind of saw the look in his eyes, and I was
Yeah.
like, I think I know where this is going. So let's hang on for the ride. But it was a great atmosphere after that
For
as well
sure,
too.
for sure.
I told both of y'all, I said I couldn't hear myself think for like the last 5 minutes of that game. You're trying to do stats, and at the same time you're trying not to be wowed by the atmosphere, by the way the crowd really got into it, and really kind of I think that helped propel the guys as well too.
For sure. The crowd is big, man. We need those guys at every home game. The noise they made, especially at the end, the kid missed a free throw. That's what gave us a chance to start the run. Fans are a big part of basketball. That atmosphere is what we need in the gym, and we hope that they continue to come to the home games to support us.
So, and you go and you look at the box score again. You had that lead at half. You were up 34-33, and then ultimately fell 75-73. But I nicked down just again a huge lead. Can't be stated again. I've talked to Coach Sanders a lot. One thing about this team is even when they're down by a lot, they're still not out of it. They just find a way to be resilient.
It's kind of weird, man. We know we have a good team. We let some games slip away, but the guys, they know what they're supposed to do. And when they lock in on those things, it's not a team in the league that can beat us. We've gave some games away with not doing small things, and hopefully we can clear those things up as the season continues.
So and you look at the box score, you got 4 starters in double figures, and anytime you have that, it's going to be a good night for the Wolves. You're led by Carteria Scott, 21 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. Court being that kind of a little bit of a combo guard for you. Early in the year he kind of distributed the ball. Now here lately more he's been a lot more relying on your scoring and those kind of things. Talk about again. We talk about it every week, but he really is the engine that makes everything go for you.
Oh, yes, sir. He's the engine. Court's a good basketball player, though. The reason good things happen to Court is because he don't care if he's scoring or if he's assisting. He's there to win. And when you just playing basketball to win, somehow points find you. And that's what he does. He never goes into a game thinking he got to get this amount of points or this amount of assists. He's taking whatever the defense gives him. He comes to the sideline. He's talking to us, telling us what he sees. The kid really sees basketball. And that's the difference between him and a lot of people. He actually can see the game. And it's benefiting him right now. That's why he's playing at a high level.
You also look at it, Avon Johnson, 19-7. I think the one thing that you would have liked to seen was more of Avon Johnson in the second half. He had 19, but he finished the first half with 16. He was absolutely cooking in the first half. Really had a great first half. So, and then you also had Devin Carter, 15 points as well, 6 rebounds. Those two guys really those are your 2 sophomores, and they really kind of helped bolster this team and really propel them forward.
Yeah, Vaughn, man, he had a great first half. Some of that's kind of on me. We should have kept going to him in the first half, probably give him some more touches. But he also was on the glass. He got to get on the offensive rebound. The best pass in the gym was that backboard up there. Go get you some offensive rebounds. But yeah, he had it going in that first half. We probably could have got him some more touches. But that's who Vaughn is. Kid can make shots. He's a great catch and shooter. He can put it on the floor a little bit. He just got to be more decisive in what he want to do. And the sky's the limit for Vaughn because his size, he can rebound, he can pass, he can do a lot of things. And then Devin is the guy we need this final stretch to really step up and play with Court. Devin's one of the best guards in the league, and it's not even a question. He just got to play a little better. He got to be more decisive in his shots as well. He got to catch and shoot and let it go. Cut down on some of the dribbling, but I know he'll figure it out when he started to in the Delta game.
Right. And then you look at it again, Emmanuel James, E-Man did what E-Man does. He finds a way to get you a double-double or get close to it, 10 and 12 in that one. And, I really think there, especially late in the game, it kind of felt like he was one of the big reasons why you're in it, too. He was able to go up, soar up, get some rebounds, and cut down on their second chance buckets for the Bobcats.
E-Man plays really hard, and he knows he has to rebound for us every night for us to even have a chance, and that's what he goes to do. No matter how big the other person is, we could have got him some more touches as well. But E-Man plays hard. I wanted to yell at him at halftime, and I looked at his number. I said, oh, he almost at a double-double already. So that's just who he is. He's a good player.
So, and then we fast forward to on the road at Mississippi Delta, and what an exciting finish. I told people teasing before the break, I was there. I got to see it in person. Yeah. And we'll talk more in depth about it here in a second. But 89-86, talk about the way the guys played in this one.
We didn't play great. I say that, but it's so hard to play at Mississippi Delta. I played there when I was at Pearl. That's a hard gym to go play because it's like what college people call a buzzsaw gym. It's just hard. It's not a great gym, but it's okay. It's no crowd, no excitement. You got to kind of bring your own energy. And for us to be a good team, that's the thing we got to do. And we're not just there yet. We're headed that way, but that's the tough gym to play in.
So you look at the breakdown, you're up by 6 at halftime, 38-32, but the Trojans just kept finding ways to fight back. I think they got really red hot from the 3 line.
Yeah.
That's a big factor there. And they outscored you 54-51, but the most important one were those final 3. If you weren't watching, we're going to show you the clip here on the show, and we've also posted on all of our social medias. Delta had tied the game. There's 15 seconds left. Delta ties the game with a 3, 5.2 on the clock. You inbound it. Court just goes running down the Cortarius runs down the court, and I'm personally thinking, man, we're going to go into overtime. We might get this shot off. I don't know how we're going to get this shot off with just 5 seconds, but he raised up and just nailed a dagger to end the game. And you kind of just see everybody in the gym go, wow, that just happened.
Yeah.
Just an amazing performance out of court, and really just – that's the kind of performance that really can propel the team going forward.
Yeah, well, first, the 3 that they made to tie the game, Will Grayson did exactly what I told him to do. Played great defense, told him don't foul the kid from Delta, just made a great shot. And then honestly, when Court got it, I didn't know he was going to shoot a 3, but I kind of thought that he was going to score some type of way. The kid told me on Tuesday in the cafeteria that he wasn't going to let me lose this game. He knew that this was my first game coaching without Co-Lin. He told me he wasn't going to let me lose, and he lived up to that.
So you look at the box score, and it wasn't a starter that led you in points in this one. It was actually a guy who came off the bench in this one for you. It was Devin Carter. Devin, especially late, it looked like he got more determined to really kind of get downhill. That's something we talked about with Coach Sanders. Get downhill, get in the paint, go to the line. That's where you're really successful at. And I think he had a lot better shot selection from the 3. I'll get my words out here in a second. But finished with 23 points. And it kind of felt like a quiet 23. I told somebody, I said, knew he had a lot of points. I didn't realize it was 23. But talk about the way he played in this one.
Devin played great, man. For him to come off the bench the first time, he was a team player. He understood what he needed to do. The thing I like about Devin, he understood he's not playing well. So when you're not playing well, sometimes coaches got to do things to kind of get you going, and that's what we wanted to do, bring him off the bench to try to see how he was going to react, because everybody wants to see how you react when things not going good. And Devin, he had a lot of energy. He came on. He tried to play defense. I think he had 6 assists. That's probably one of his highs of the year. And then the scoring, that's what Devin does. Like the kid, when he's locked in, when he's not dancing with the ball, the kid can go be a professional scorer. Like it's real easy for him because he does have all the moves and he can make shots. Right. And that's what he did yesterday.
And then you got big performances out of both of your post players again, Avon Johnson and Emmanuel James. Identical matching stat lines, both flirting with double-doubles, had 19 and 7. And it really felt like, especially down the stretch, they were nabbing some rebounds for you, keeping them off second-chance buckets, and made some clutch free throws at the end, too. Both of them got to the line a few times. But, again, those 2 guys just solid for you almost every night, and they just find ways to help the team win.
Yeah, like I said, E-Man knows he has the rebound for us to win, but anytime Vaughn goes down there and rebounds, a plus for us. Those guys, they really can control the boards. I challenged both of them. I actually told E-Man he should have had 17 rebounds against that team, so he didn't quite get there, but he tried. Like Delta did a good job boxing him out. Sometimes they had 2 people box him out just to make sure he didn't get it. And when he couldn't get it, Vaughn got it. Those guys played great together, first of all. And they understood what we needed them to do, and that's what they went out there and did.
I think I heard Vaughn during warm-ups. Somebody from the Delta fans said something to him, and it kind of got him fired up. And I said, okay, go use it. And he definitely did. So, it's nice to see a guy when he finds something to motivate him, he really
that's what I love about
use it and step it up.
I love when the outside factors talk bad to him because that's what he uses as his fuel. And some people need that. Some people are motivated from the inside. Some people motivated from the outside. And when somebody else says something to Vaughn, like, that gets them going. So I hope everybody continues to do it on the road.
And then, obviously, the hero of the game, Cortarius Scott, finishes with 17. So none bigger than the final 3.
Yep.
Again, just he. I tell Coach Sanders all the time, I'm just impressed with the way he plays. Reminds me a lot of, Jalen Murray at Ole Miss, those kind of the way he'll rise up for a shot, or, he'll throw a pass, and you're like, I didn't even see that guy there. How did he see him? He's just a great basketball player.
Yeah, and the kid's always like he's here. He's not too high, he's not too low. And when you hear all the time, man, good things gonna happen. He can have 30, he's gonna be the same player. He can have 2, he's gonna be the same player. And like I said earlier, like, good things happen to people who play basketball the right way. And that kid, like, he plays the right way. Like, that's just who he is. It's built in him. And me and Co-Lin just continue to try to add to that.
I think one big thing that can tell you how even kill Corterius is, I think he picked up his 4th foul with about 2.5 minutes left, and you looked at him and you said, "Hey, Court, you got 4," and he just said, "Okay."
That's
like,
it.
Just nothing bothers him.
He understood and he continued to guard, and that's the thing. That kid, like, he wants to play defense as well. Some of those fouls, especially late, weren't fouls they were calling early, and so I just told him you got to adjust. They weren't calling early, now they calling, so now you just got to make the adjustment. And he wanted to guard, and so I would never be mad at him for that.
Right. And so you look at your next 2. You got 2 that are they're tough games. I mean, every game going is tough, but these next 2 are very tough. And, a ranked Northeast team comes here. We'll talk about the Tigers in a second, but then you'll go on the road and face a very, very good Wildcats team in Pearl River. So, let's go to the Tigers. What do we know about them? What are we expecting out of them coming in Thursday?
Well, I'm be honest, that's why I look kind of sleepy right now. I was up to about 1:30 last night watching Northeast. They're a good team. Coach Wright does a good job of coaching them. They really try to defend. It's going to be a tough game because they defend, they rebound, they communicate. They're one of the few teams in the league that I could say try to compete on the defensive end. So it's going to be a tough game, but luckily we get them at home. I think we have 1 loss at home, so it's kind of to our advantage. And I know our team going to be ready because they're always ready for big games, so we're going to see what happens.
And then obviously you go back to a gym you're very, very familiar with, played your junior college career there over in Poplarville. You'll go play the Wildcats against Pearl River, a team that some would say struggling a little bit here, losing the last 2 in a row. But what do you know about the Wildcats going into that one?
I know it's going to be a tough game. I know that they don't lose many at Pearl River ever since I've been there. It's going to be hard to play. I know the fans going to be there. The baseball team's going to be there loud. We're going to have to go in with our heads on straight and be ready to get a win. I know they're going to be coached well. I know they're going to try to defend, and I know that they're going to rebound the ball, things that Pearl River's always done that we're going to have to be ready to do. And then there's also some things from watching film that we know we can take advantage of, that we're going to try to see how the game go and see if we can get those things done.
Coach, obviously, you're again, we're getting down here down the stretch, don't have a lot left. About 3 weeks left in the season, give or take, and you're looking at it, and again after the Jones loss, you're thinking it's a long stretch. I don't know if we can finish in that top spot. But after the results that we've had after the last couple of days, now it's right there back in your grasp. And how do you keep the guys focused on, hey, our goals are still right there. We can still win everything that we want.
Well, that's the thing, especially on the bus yesterday after we seen the scores, kind of let the team know, like, the league, they trying to give us the lead. And it's either we gonna go take advantage of it or we not. But like we've been telling them all year, like if we don't win the league, and this is how we feel here at Co-Lin, it's just how we should feel. If we don't win the league, it's gonna be because of us. It's not gonna be because no other team. It's gonna be because we didn't do the little things that we should have done. We feel like we're the most talented team, the most hardworking team in the league. We feel like we could beat anybody on any given day, but we also can be beat when we don't do the stuff we should do. So they know what's in front of them. They know that we still got a chance now. They was excited to see those scores on the bus yesterday. So I'm interested to see how practice go today to see if they kind of really ready for that next step, because it's gonna be hard. It's always hard to win a championship. No championship is given easy. That's why everybody doesn't win a championship.
So lots of exciting things happening for the Wolves. Everything they want still right in front of them. And we'll give you all the details and updates as they're available across all of our social medias. And we'll have all the home games on stream as well for you too. Stick with us through the break. We'll have head baseball coach Adam Shamply join us. We'll talk about how the Wolves did in their previous games. And then we'll talk about their upcoming ones as well too. Welcome back in. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. And joining me now is our head baseball coach, Adam Shamply. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And, Coach, obviously a really good week for the Wolves. You go 2-1 on the week, and you started off, you had a doubleheader on the road against Delgado. You split that one. You started off with a Game 1 win. You picked that up 8-5. Talk about how the guys played in Game 1 and your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I was obviously always good to win. I think we did jump out first in that game with a 2 spot in the top of the first, and then they put up 4 in the bottom half, I believe, and then we responded right back. Kind of been offensively, that's kind of been the nature of us as an offense here early in the season. We've been able to maybe go down a little bit, but then respond, which is obviously huge. So, really pleased with that one, and really happy to see Galat, pitch so well in that one as well.
And you look at it. Oh, go ahead.
We'll get to that, I'm sure.
And you look at it, and as you mentioned, you did score out first. A name I think we talk a lot about in this game is J.D. Weed. He had a big game in this one. Started out with a one-hit single, back-to-back walks with 2 outs to Dylan Weston and Braden Bankston. Load the bases. A third straight walk to C.C. Christian Cameron. Scores J.D. Weed, and then Bankston scores on an RBI single by Riley Easterling. That's how you get the 2-0 lead. And then, as you mentioned, Dolphins scored 4 in the bottom of the first. A little bit of a rocky start for your starter, Tyler Ferguson. We'll talk a little bit about him later. And then, of course, you hinted on it. You tied the game, and you tied it in a big way. Right. Back-to-back solo jacks from J.D. Weed and Jordan McKenzie. And I think I talked to y'all afterwards, and I said, were both of them no doubters? And y'all like, J.D.'s got really high. But y'all were like, J-Max, we knew off the bat. It was an absolute moonshot.
Yeah. It was he hit it well, and he gave a little bit of a bat flip, and I was kind of holding my breath like, I really hope it goes out, which as a hitter, when you know, it kind of thing. So I was okay with the little bat flip there, and I think those both may have come with 2 outs, maybe, which was huge. You go out, and then solo homer to tie the game that early, and it was obviously we're right back in it, and it's 0-0 at that point, and we're ready to roll.
All right, so then the Dolphins do take a lead. They scored 1 in the fourth, it's a 5-4 lead, and it looks like it may stay that way. Both pitchers. You brought in a relief pitcher at that point, and of course the starter for the Dolphins both kind of started locking in. But then your guys came up big, scored 2 in the 6th. Again, J.D. Weed starts an inning getting on base. This time it was hit by pitch. He stole second, advanced to third on an error, and then tied the game on a sac fly by Dylan Weston. And then you had 3 straight singles from Bankston, CC, and Riley Easterling that gave you the 6-5 lead. And then you kept the Dolphins off the board. You go in the 7th. You score 2 more. A leadoff single from Brentley Berry, a double from Tucker Jones, an RBI single from Weed scores Brentley Berry and Tucker Jones. You're 8-5 there, and then of course you keep them off the board in the bottom of the 7th. Wade Barrs come in at that point. He just slammed the door on them. Right. So you look at the box score. J.D. Weed again, big game, 3 for 4, 3 RBIs. Jordan McKenzie, Braden Bankston, Riley Easterling, and Brentley Berry all 2 hits each. So a scattering of hits across the lineup, and that's a good thing you want to see as a coach.
Right, absolutely. We've just found a way to win games. It's I don't know that we are a team that, even though we hit 2 home runs in that game, I don't know that we're going to be a team that just hits a ton of home runs, but I do think we're going to be able to find a way, and that's what we've done so far, find a way to score runs. Great to see that. Great to see it as a team effort and everybody kind of playing their part in that.
Yeah, of course, home runs are nice, but get them on, get them over, get them in works just as well as a home run sometimes. So, but then you look at the pitching stats, and like we said, a little bit of a rocky outing for Tyler Ferguson. He pitched only 2/3 of an inning, allowed all 4 runs. All of those were earned, and had four walks. And it seemed like just watching, it just seemed like he got behind early on, and that kind of affected him. I know, again, a freshman making his first start against a nationally ranked team like Delgado. There's a lot of nerves going into that for him.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, first ever college start, a kid from Louisiana, throwing against Delgado, who he's probably grew up, hearing about, tradition-rich program. So I do think he was nervous, So that's kind of what I told him after the game. I said, hey, man, we won the game, so now you can relax and put this one past you, and because we are going to need him, and I've told him that already. He's going to be a guy that we count on, and we know he's talented enough to get the job done, and he'll bounce back. It's one of those things.
Yeah, and if you look at it, the other 2 you definitely circle because they had great outings. You go Kobe Galat, you bring him in. He goes 4 1/3, allowed just the 1 earned run. Would have been on the hook for the loss had the guys not been able to come back, but still a stellar outing no matter what. Just allowed that, like I said, the one run. on and have 5 strikeouts and 1 walk, there. So a good outing from him. And then Wade Barr gets his first appearance of the year, comes out and just absolutely deals. I think he gave up 1 hit in 2 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts and 1 walk, so mirrored Gallant on there. So you finish with a high strikeout to walk ratio for your last 2 and got the win in his debut. So good relief outings out of those 2 pitchers.
Yeah, Gallant did what we know Gallant can do, what we've seen him do all year last year, so it was great to see that because that was probably his best outing so far this year. And then, like you said, Wade came in and slammed the door. I mean, looked really, really good, looked almost dominant, And in the fall, we threw him also in some tough situations, and he got barreled up a little bit in the fall, even though the fastball has been really good for him. But it was really good to see him to come in a situation that he's not been successful in, but then come through and be really good for us.
I think talking to Coach Stewart the day after the games, he said Wade threw a slider one time and knew he had the guy, just stared him down the whole time that he was walking back to the mound. So, as a pitching coach, I think as a head coach, anytime you love to see a pitcher have that kind of moxie. When he knows he's pitched well, you love to see that. So now, unfortunately, the second game did not go the way of the Wolves. A little rough of an outing. You lose that one 22-9, and you look at that score and you think 22-9 sounds really bad, but at one point the guys gave themselves a chance to get back in it and really fought the whole time, I felt like. But your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, just going back through the box score, I think we walked 11. We walked 11, and going back after the game, I go back through the play-by-play on the Game Changer, and I'm like, a lot of times I'm sitting there, I'm like, how did this happen? What were the events of the game? And it was a lot of walk, hit by pitch, single. I mean, you're once again another really good offense that has good players that swing the bat to do damage, and they're sitting there in hitter counts, all game long. Just can't win that way. Right. A lot of free passes, and then they did earn some, but we've already, it's first and second, and it's nobody out, and here's a fastball kind of situation, and they did what they were supposed to with it. So from a pitching standpoint, not great in that one.
I think I told somebody, I said if there's one consolation that a coach can take from that one, if you take anything away from it outside of that, is of the 22 runs, 21 of them are earned. So it wasn't like your guys were just throwing it all over the yard and making errors, and they went out and earned all those runs except for one of them. So that again, that's a takeaway that at least you can grow from that. Certainly you don't want the hitters to be in hitters counts and you're having to give them bell-tie fastballs and those kind of things. But if there's something you can take away from it, at least it wasn't we made mistakes.
No, they definitely when we put it up there for them, I mean they did earn it. So it was, I guess, credit to them.
You run through the scoring real quick. Dolphins scored 2 in the bottom of the first to take a lead. The guys actually scored 3 in the second to take your own lead. It was highlighted by 2 RBIs, single by Bankston, and then one of the first big innings for Delgado happens in the bottom of the second. They score 7 in that one, and then turn around and score 7 in the third as well too. There was an RBI single by Sam Cook in the third. It ended up being 16-4 after 3, and you really think at that point, you're down 12. It's like, how do we get back in it? Well, a 5-run inning will do it. You score 5 in the fourth, and you're thinking, all right, we're back in this. We still got 3 innings left. If we can just shut them down and find ways to keep scoring. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. You gave up 6 in the bottom of the fourth, and they didn't score in the fifth, and they called the game at that point. So, you look at it, and again, I think there were 5 hits in this game for the guys. Not a great offensive day for you because they did make some errors and those kind of things. And you look at the pitching. D. Morgan started this one for you again, a freshman from Louisiana, making his first start against Delgado. Roughed up a little bit. An inning and 2/3, 7 runs allowed, 6 earns on 3 hits, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So. Not what you wanted to see out of the freshman making his first start, but I think there's some things that he can work on and certainly grow from on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't think D pitched that bad. On paper it may look rough, but there was a ball that I've talked to our players about it. There was a ball that I thought had to be made. It was not a routine play. It was a foul ball down the left field line, but in my opinion, that play has got to be made, and we don't catch that ball, and then the next hitter hits a 3-run home run. or I think we ended up walking that guy, or he got a hit, and then the 3-run home run. So I felt like if we made that play, maybe a completely different inning, and then I think we drop a fly ball in right field. So there were a couple things that, like, hey, he was doing what he was supposed to as far as getting weak contact, and we didn't make a couple plays that we should have. So overall, I didn't think D's performance was that bad. It just we didn't do a whole lot well in this game to say that we could deserve to win it.
So, and you also look at it, Caleb Flynn, Judson Griffin, and Sam Thomas all pitching this one as well too, and all roughed up a little bit in this one as well too. Not lines you want to see from your pitching staff, but you got through that one. You move on. You come back. You finally get to play at home this past Friday. Finally got to play that home opener. And you got Coastal Alabama South came in. You beat the Coyotes 7-1. Just an absolute masterclass. Jumped on them early, often. And shut them down. But your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, really happy to see win the home opener. We did. I think we scored 1 in the first inning. So, that's been really fun, is the scoring early that we've done. I feel like we've done that in a lot of games. It just scored in the first couple of innings and made some things happen. So that was good to see. And then, the second inning we put up 6, which, like I told our guys, we did our job of taking our walks, taking our hit by pitches. But once again, not an extreme offensive hit effort. But, hey, we do have to take – we stood up there and took our walks. We took our hit by pitches and put up a big inning there, and eventually, won the game 7-1. So can't be mad about a win.
Right.
Ever.
I think if you look at it, the team has scored first in every game except for the win against Pensacola State and then the loss against Delgado in the 22-9 game. But so anytime you're scoring first, you like your odds of being able to win that game. So you look at the scoring again. You mentioned it. Scored 1 in the bottom of the first. Tucker Jones was hit by a pitch with 1 out. I feel like we say that a lot for our team. Advanced to third on a single by Wee and then scored on an RBI ground out by Dylan Weston. And then the 6th-run inning happened in the 6th. You had RBIs for Braden Bankston, Brentley Berry, Dylan Weston, and Riley Easterling. So the lone score for the Coyotes coming in the bottom of the 8th. Pitcher missed a spot. Guy just I felt like he kind of ran into it a little bit too, because it didn't look like it was going to get. JD tracked it all the way to the wall. I thought it was going. We had a ball earlier in that game that went to the wall, and he was able to catch it. And I thought that was going to happen again, but that one just got out. But you look at the pitching and just a dominant performance from Connor Pittman. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, and I jokingly tell people if Brentley Berry's ours were just a little bit longer, he probably catches that one. And Connor has 5 no-hit, scoreless innings and 8 strikeouts, but just a masterclass from Connor.
Yeah, it was really good to see him bounce back after the first outing at Pensacola, which was still not a bad outing, just got hit a little bit. So I thought he did what he should have done with those guys. Did really well. One thing I think I've gotten used to watching Pittman pitch, because I told Coach Stewart, like, man, it didn't look like, I think he was up to 92 that day, and I've just gotten so used to seeing him. I'm sitting there thinking he could throw harder, but. And it's not all about that, but he did what he was supposed to do. He commanded the fastball, commanded the slider, and just gave us a great start in that one.
So and then you look at you use 3 relievers, and I feel like a couple of them were probably we're gonna get them in because these are only games for a little while. So let's get them some action. Andon Boland, 2 innings of scoreless and hit relief. I thought he looked really sharp on the mound coming out. Jaden Duncan, he was the one that allowed the run, but again, it still looked sharp for most of it, minus that 1 pitch. Still had 2 strikeouts, and then you bring in Jordan McKenzie, let him finish it out. 1 hit, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. So your bullpen came in and just did the job and kept the momentum going for you.
And that was we did exactly what you were talking about. We knew, hey, we don't play again until next Thursday. We need to get some guys, live work. And that's kind of why we just went Boland, Dunk, J-Mac to get those guys some live work. And they all had good outings, other than, like you said, Dunk had the slider that was supposed to be in the dirt, and it was not in the dirt. It was right over the middle, and the guy kind of ran into it. So, but no, happy with all the pitching performances.
So, and then you look ahead. You just mentioned it. We got games up this upcoming Thursday. You're going to play at home again, the friendly confines of Sullivan Field, and you welcome in Nunez. This is a team that you started with last year on the road. You played them over in Chalmette last year. But what do you know about that? The Pelicans coming into this one.
I know they will be. I think they're 4-6 right now, but they've played. They've played Jones twice. They played Gulf Coast twice, which are good teams in our league. Not sure who else they've played, but they're going to be solid. We played them in the fall. I think they did beat us in the fall. Just a bunch that's really scrappy, going to play the game hard. They do have some talented players, so I'm expecting two really, tough, hard-fought games that I definitely think we can win both of them. But it's not going to be easy by any means, so they'll be a quality opponent.
So lots of exciting things happening for Wolves baseball. Again, they go 2-1, split with nationally ranked Delgado in Division I and NJCAA, and then pick up that home win against Coastal Alabama South, and they'll host Nunez this upcoming Thursday. I believe those game times are 3 and 5 at Sullivan Field. Don't forget, we'll also have the Lady Wolves and Wolves basketball games at home on that Thursday as well too. And you have the reception honoring former Lady Wolves head coach Gwen Young. So lots of things happening on campus this Thursday. Coach, thanks for joining us. Looking forward to talking to you throughout the season. It's always a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to start the year as well, too. So I know a lot of people are excited about what the Wolves baseball team has shown so far. So that'll wrap up this week's edition of the Coaching Show. Again, as a reminder, we'll show you that graphic that has everything coming up for the week. Tennis at home against East Central. Then we've got that action-packed Thursday with baseball and basketball. And that will now include tennis. So the graphic will have that tennis is playing on that Friday. They're actually playing on this upcoming Thursday at Northeast. And then we'll be on to the next week. I'm Kevin Kaiser, Sports Information Coordinator here at Co-Lin. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.